So before we start off the video, I do want to give you a heads up that this video will not be very entertaining. So you might either want to listen or if you have some time, take a watch because it is fairly interesting in itself. Before we do start, I do want to mention something that has to do with monetization. I am moving away in the near future, so stay tuned to hear if I'm coming near you. And at the same time, I do want to talk about 3 matches that have happened this year that have honestly changed my life into the sport of arm wrestling. So you guys know the drill. Grab a coffee, sit back, relax, enjoy the video. And let's go, dude. So very recently I've met the requirements for monetization on YouTube. It means you have to have 1,000 subscribers, you have to have 4,000 hours of watch time in 1 year, not in total over 2, 3, 4 years. It has to be in 1 year. You have to meet a 2-way verification process on YouTube itself, and you can definitely not have any copyright issues. So as of 2 videos ago or 1 video ago, by the time this one comes out, I am finally monetized, which means I am starting to get paid by YouTube, which is a very big deal. Now keep in mind, it is literally in the pennies. It has nothing to do with now making $100, $200, $300 a video, any of that. But it's a start. Very, very happy with that. And what a big milestone for the channel itself. I also do want to mention that I am moving away. I did mention this in previous videos, and I'm not really moving away permanently, but I am headed to Nova Scotia in 3 weeks from now, but by the time this video comes out, it'll be literally right around that timeline. I'm supposed to arrive for January 20th. I'll be in Nova Scotia for 3 months, situated in Shearwater, which is 10 minutes from Halifax, just right across the water. And I do know that there is an arm wrestling team there because that's exactly where I started arm wrestling. In 2016, I had joined the Navy at that time. I got posted to Halifax, and that's when I realized that arm wrestling was a thing. So when I started arm wrestling there, I obviously met a bunch of people, a bunch of great people, and it didn't last long because I was there for 3.5 years. That's when I moved away to British Columbia, and now we find ourselves in a different trade, a different job, headed back to Nova Scotia, and cannot be more excited to meet up with old arm wrestling friends. If you are in the Halifax area, or Shearwater, or Sackville, or train at the club, or will be in that area during that time, comment down below, or go direct message me on Instagram. That's a good way to find me as well. I look forward to arm wrestling down there. Maybe we can meet up and do some pulling. So, headed to Nova Scotia, January 20th till April 18th to be exact. I know Nationals are happening there right after. I believe Nationals are May 24th. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we'll see how the next couple months go. Very exciting stuff, and I could not be more excited. So, like I mentioned before, we have 3 matches this year that have kind of changed my life in the sport of arm wrestling. Now, it wasn't life-changing to the fact that the next day I was a completely different person, but it was definitely something that was eye-opening, and I just wanted to talk about each match individually and just touch on a couple things and give my input. So, let's get started. So the first one is not really a match, it's actually Victor Beloff. Now Victor, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he's from Alberta. And I first met Victor in Toronto. He came to a BAL tournament about 1.5 years ago. When I arrived at that tournament, I already heard about this guy. I showed up at this tournament and I heard it's going to be an absolute stat class in my weight division, which was 198 pounds and under. Now Victor flew from Alberta to Toronto to come and compete at that tournament. Now, the tournament had started and it did not go well for me at the beginning. It did not go well for me at all. And I remember one match, I'll put it on the screen here, but I remember one match, I ended up facing him, and I was like, the only way he's going to beat me is maybe the hand, because he was literally already top rolling everybody at that point, and he was hooking. So we end up arm wrestling, and he absolutely destroys me. His hand was so strong, I could feel he could pretty much be super solid anywhere. And then to top it all off, he ended up winning Canadian Nationals in the 198 pound class, right hand, and I think he placed 3rd on the left. So anyways, long story short, we ended up doing some arm wrestling up at my place, a little practice, myself, Tom, and Victor. And I learned a lot from this guy. Obviously, I couldn't tell you word for word and remember everything exactly what was learned at that time, but I will put some footage here on the screen, of course. But it's pretty crazy to have someone at that magnitude, even though sometimes you forget just your friend who can be so good is competing at such a high level. And when you have someone like that you're training with, you want to grab as much information and you want to take as much from them so you can learn as much as you can as possible. So yeah, anyways, this one wasn't really so much a match, but it was more the fact that Victor was able to come to my place because he was in town for like 2 weeks. We were able to get some training done, learned a lot, and I could not be more happier. And it was kind of a good idea. It was also a good time to kind of test myself against a national champion, because obviously the goal at some point would be to go to nationals and do very well. And it didn't really go well when he came over. But in saying that, it was a great time. I could not be more happier that I was able to get the experience with him. And yeah, very good times. So the second match, this was an actual match, the second match that had a big influence on myself, and this is going to be a funny, kind of weird story. It was against Ezreal. And Ezreal was someone that I've talked to many times in the past, and I've always been told, like, you gotta arm wrestle this guy. Well, guess what happened? At TAL in Abbotsford this year, 2022, at the end of the year, I ended up going up against him in the finals in my weight class, which was, I think, this weight class was 198 in lower. And it was me and Ezreal in the finals. So anyways, I'm going to play the footage, and then I'll kind of give my overview after that.
Go. Good job, dude.
Okay, so this was a very interesting match. Not the fact that I just not murdered the guy, but it's not the fact that I beat the guy pretty convincingly. It's more the fact that this was the first time that I pressed someone in a match, which sounds crazy because I've been doing this for a while, but it was the first time that I was actually able to press someone in a match, and it was the final match against a pretty freaking big name in Ezreal. Now, obviously, keep in mind, at this specific moment, we were both amateurs, so it's not like I'm competing at a very high level and I'm just running through people on the press. So it was really cool, and the fact that everything was like playing on the screen and it was kind of in the moment, it was just very unique. And just setting up the strap, I just knew it was game over at that point, because I already pulled them a little bit earlier in the tournament. But just loading up the strap, feeling the tension, playing with the cup a little bit, getting on top. Well, that sounds really bad, but like rising, getting hand control, just waiting, getting in a little bit of a hook, back to top roll, and then coming up and pressing. It was pretty phenomenal, and definitely something I'm going to remember for a very long time. Like I said, it's not because I completely beat this guy. It was very easy. It was more the fact that I pressed someone who has a fairly big name in the sport of arm wrestling at a pretty big tournament itself. And I don't know. It was just a very unique moment, and I'll remember it for a long time. And last but not least, the third match that really put the stamp on 2022 was a match against, well, I don't really know his name. Someone's going to definitely know it in this video, because apparently this guy that you're about to see here talked a lot of crap at an Idaho tournament earlier this year. I don't know if he wore the same shirt at that time, but as you'll see in this video, he's the guy in the red shirt. I'll play the video, and then I'll just talk about it.
Here we go, babe. You got this. Here we go. It's your match, babe. Fuck no. Here we go, babes. Your match. You got this. Here we go. Nice.
Thomas. Thomas.
Woo! Easy.
Now we're back to arena in super heavies.
Let's go, babe. You got this. You got this, babe. Let's go. Here we go. Light. Easy. Nice job, babe. Here we go, babe. You got this. It's your match. Come on, babe. Come on, babe. You got this, babe. Let's go, babe. You got this. Here we go. You got this, babe. It's your match. Easy. Yeah. Come on, babe.
What do you got? Vancouver.
Yeah, so essentially with this match that had happened here, I didn't know that this guy was talking a lot of crap, but the match starts, and as soon as I grip up with this guy, now keep in mind this is further on in this tournament, but as soon as I strapped up with this guy, I felt the amount of power he had, and I remember just looking straight at his arm and seeing how thick it was, how big his hand was, how big his bicep was, and I could tell this guy was very, very strong. So anyways, as soon as the match had started, I immediately told myself, like, the only way I'm going to actually win is going to be by taking the hand, because that's where I tend to do best in most matches. So I'm like, I'm going to go top roll. I don't know if I'm going to go high hand, low hand, but we'll give it a shot and see what happens. So the match obviously started. Low hand happens. End up getting his hand up quite up high, but I had control. And then at that point, I think we slipped. I'd have to rewatch. I think we slipped the first time. So we end up re-gripping. Same thing, match actually starts again, but this time I end up gripping, 1, 2, 3, low hand it, come all the way down, and I'm, as you can tell in the video, I'm maybe half a foot, a couple inches from the pad, and I'm holding, and at this point I know it's game over, but then of course there's a slip. So then we strap up, and at this point I'm like wired, I'm like, there's no way this guy wins. I just can't give him anything, because I feel like if I were to give him a little bit of bicep, or I would just try to be cocky or try to do anything and give him a little bit of inside, I probably would have lost. In saying that, obviously I wanted the strap, because I'm like, if I can get control of that hand, I believe it's going to be game over. And that's exactly what happened. So the match ended up finishing off. It was pretty much a 3-rounder, a lot of stamina for that one. I get off the stage, and as I'm walking over to my friends, I've already done like 1,000 matches by this point. And my buddy looks at me and he goes, you know who the guy you just beat? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, that guy was talking a lot of crap at the Idaho tournament, and I'm pretty happy you beat him. And I was like, nice. Like that actually felt very good. And then, of course, if you haven't watched the footage, I'll probably put like a card or something up here on the screen to watch these matches, like the whole Washington Championships matches, as I competed a lot in this tournament and placed second in 2 classes. However, I did get humbled on my last match, pretty bad. It was actually embarrassing, but it was very, very eye-opening. So I'm going to end the video here. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like the video. Consider subscribing as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.